everybody. It's Colin. Talking ball. It's sweaty. I'm sweaty. It's hot in my house. But hey, thanks for joining. Got a couple new tricks, new camera, new microphone stuff. So we'll see how that all goes. Hopefully that all goes okay. But here to join me with that and some soccer talk from around the globe. We've got my friend Ian. What's up, buddy?
Hi, Colin. All right.
Oh, doing just peachy. I was, Ian and I were actually just talking backstage, and I was telling him about how it's pretty late, but early for him. So you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as my grandfather would say, and I am a little on the sleepy side, but I'm good. I was telling Ian, I had about an hour power nap. That's all you really need as a young man like myself. It does the job for sure. But yeah, so lots of stuff in Spurs land. I haven't done a stream in a while, so I've missed out on a lot of the big happenings, I guess you could say. James Madison. I mean, that one kind of seemed like it. We had heard rumblings for years, but once it kind of like took off, that deal just happened. That was kind of cool.
I think it's. You look at some of the stuff that I've read. He's a player that we were looking at when he was at Norwich. We looked at him apparently at the same time as we were looking at Dele Alli and looking at a double deal. We decided to take Dele Alli, left Madison, looked at him when he was at Norwich, decided against. We're going to sign him apparently last summer or in the winter. But decided again against, and of course with Conte, he doesn't fit into a Conte system at all.
Yeah, no way.
But he fits like a glove into Postecoglou's system in that right-sided number 8. I mean, if we're talking, there's I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about the way Ange Postecoglou sets his sides up, and he's not dogmatic. But his general favoured system is 4-3-3. It's two central defenders, 2 fullbacks who have to be able to contribute in an inverted role. But then he plays a 6 as a pivot, 1-6, one holding midfield player. So we've been used to playing, 2 holding midfield players since I can remember. And we'll only have 1 holding midfield player who will also be expected to be able to move the ball around and move the ball quickly. It's not just a stopper, if you like, in the middle of the park. And then he plays with effectively 2 number 8s. He doesn't play with a number 10, because I've read a lot of stuff about, will Madison be a number 10 or will he be a number 8?
Postecoglou's really exists.
Formula and formation doesn't include a number 10. It has the 6 and it has 2 8s, a left-sided and a right-sided inside forward. You'd have to ask your grandpa about that if your grandfather watched football, or saga. So it's 2 sort of inside forwards. So Madison is his perfect, like a glove fit. Right-sided number 8. It's who he plays as the left-sided number 8 now, which is interesting, is whether he sees that as a role that can be played by Bentancur when he's fit, or Bissouma, or Ndombele, or Lo Celso, or he goes back to Celtic for Hatate to play that role. So I think that's important, and it also means the way he plays that there won't be the necessity for Kane to come back and get the ball, because there will be so many attacking options with the way he plays, with his fullbacks required to get forward, his 2 wide front men, is I'll call them the number 8s, but the inside forwards who will be able to contribute and will be hanging around, creating chances from inside the box and just outside it. The centre forward can actually just stay and score goals, which you, in your introduction, you talked about Kane. Kane might quite like Ange ball. I think Kane might like it.
Yeah, but definitely help him reach that goal scoring record.
But yeah, so
no, you go. I keep talking.
Yeah, all I was going to say was whether it's enough to make him stay is another question,
and that's one that we'll surely address. Yeah. but yeah, I mean that all sounds beautiful. So in essence, though, you say, will he be a number 10 or he's going to be one of these number 8s? But in essence, I feel like what you've described sounds like a 10 in play style. You know what I mean? It sounds like they'll be in charge of distributing the ball. They'll be in charge of making attacking. I mean, it's like it sounds like an interesting position. I really do need to watch more of his Celtic team.
Yeah,
I mean, the way that certain players performed in certain areas, because I mean, it's all there. It's all there for me to see. So no real excuse. But
you could probably have a look. There was actually a very good analysis of it in the Athletic. In the week. I don't know for people who are watching or yourself who subscribe or can pick up.
It's not very expensive at all.
It was a really good piece about how Celtic lined up under Postecoglou and how his fullbacks inverted and where the players actually fit in. It's a really good system, and it requires a lot of mobility. It requires a lot of intensity. If people start thinking, hang on a minute, you're describing Pochettino. Yes, I am. In a lot of ways, it's similar to Pochettino. I suspect if you were speaking to Ange and saying, who was your biggest influence as a coach? If you speak to a rock musician and say, well, who were the musicians that influenced you when you were growing up? I suspect Postecoglou would say his biggest influence has been Pep, because of that kind of intensity, the trying to win the ball, the transition high up the pit field, and then the speed of transition. And I think Spurs supporters are going to like that. You're going to like it even more if it comes with a trophy or two. But there will be the football will be exciting. It will be entertaining. It will be the kind of football that gets you off your seat in anticipation and excitement. And I am really looking forward to it. Really looking forward.
I can't wait. There's been matches, and I mean, I don't want to say I never turn off a Spurs match. I try really hard not to. But there's been times where I've been like lulled to sleep by our play, just by how.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, something exciting sounds nice. Even if it doesn't come with results straight away, I hope, like you said, that everybody kind of gives them a second, gives the team some time to find their way. It doesn't sound like it's going to be an easy transition. It's not similar at all, really, to what we've been doing lately. Some of these players have been around long enough that they remember the Pochettino way, but not all of them. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
And people harking back to let's bring Poch back. Forget that in the weeks before he was fired, there were some pretty abominable performances. Not least of which I think was it 7-1 we lost at home to Bayern. So people, we're all romantics at heart, but that was there were signs that was things were starting to go wrong there. And you're right as well. It might not be instant success with Postecoglou. It might take some time. But you okay there?
Oh yeah.
It might take some time. It certainly, Celtic's first 2, 3, 4 results weren't great, but once he got the team playing to his style, and understanding exactly what he required, it was just a one-way ticket to success after that. He won 5 of 6 trophies against a Rangers team. I mean, people go, it's a one, anyone can win the league in Scotland. Well, yeah, that's fine. But the team that
did the year before he took over,
so Rangers won the league by 25 points. So that was something of a turnaround. It was a huge turnaround. And did it playing the kind of football that Celtic supporters craved. So. People should be excited. I
am. I know I am. Absolutely. So now that we've done our Ange love-in, that Yeah, Scott is reminding us that we lost 7-2 to Bayern. Scott, I just wanted to
7-2.
post
Okay,
this-
hi, morning, Scott. You're someone up really early or up really late.
really late, I think, for Scott. Here's the link in case you want to stop and say hello, Scott. Put that in the chat for anybody watching. The show. As always, you're free to pop in, say hi, pop back out, leave, no problem. Everybody's welcome. But yeah, just wanted to kind of pop back in. So we've got our Ange love in done, at least for now.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we did that, and I'm sure we will, for a bit. But now we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of things, and we start talking about the stuff I kind of have like half planned here. Here come the bad puns, by the way.
Yep.
Kane, we keep him another year. And then I don't know if you've seen this floating around, but it's ugly and it makes me hurt. Yikes. I know obviously that's just a bad Photoshop, but just the idea, is not a pleasant one. How do you feel about it? Do you think I can see both. I can see it going both ways. It's so hard. My rational mind, it's so easy to understand both, outcomes.
Yeah. I think this is Levy's biggest dilemma, not least of which he's not at the height of his popularity at the moment. So he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Let's just talk about it first of all from a business point of view, and then let's talk about the football. He's got a year left on his contract. He gets such terrible pressure you must move to win trophies. You must move to win trophies. The fact that plenty of people have stayed with their hometown clubs. Even Shearer, granted, he won a championship at Blackburn, but he didn't win much else. And then went back to Newcastle when he could have gone to Fergie's Man United and turned down Fergie's Man United to join his hometown club. Kane is a home bird. I don't think Kane would be that desperate to go abroad. All things being equal, I think if he could, without pressure, sign for Chelsea or sign for Arsenal or sign for Manchester United, I suspect, that would be his ideal. There's talk. I don't know if you've seen. He's building apparently a £15 million house near the Wentworth Golf Course, which is meant to be near Chelsea's Cobham training ground. And,
it's probably just the nicest golf course around. I mean, I bet it's just the one he likes best. That's reading a lot into nothing, if you ask me. But the fact that he's building a home makes me think that he's probably going to stick around, at least, like you said, in the continent.
I mean, there's a part of me that says no, keep him, and hope that we win something and he stays.
Right.
But the risk of losing a player that we could get, let's say realistically, between 70 and 80 million pounds. Where are we in dollars? Somewhere around the $100 million mark. 100 million euro mark is a phenomenal amount of money for a player at 29, granted one that looks after himself, particularly if he's going to go to somewhere like Bayern. I think every Tottenham fan's worst nightmare will be for him to go to Chelsea, for example. I mean, that would be horrific. And I'm not convinced he'd want to squander his legacy. On the other hand, of course, he stays, he might win something. But do we take that risk, Colin? I don't know that we can afford to take that risk. There are other forwards out there that could play, because he's a goal hanger. I mean, someone like Gary Lineker, Michael Owen, those kind of players, ideal for Pop, for Ange Ball. And it might be that Ange thinks if I get £80 million, sterling to sign other players, I can do an awful lot of money, an awful lot with that money. And he may feel, Kyogo at Celtic, for example, is a lovely footballer, a penalty box player, a penalty box poacher.
You mentioned Gary Lineker earlier. I just wanted to show
that
you
one. Well,
Gary Lineker card. Yeah.
perfect for Ange, absolutely perfect. But it's a difficult one because, of course, if he lets him go, there may be that aspect of, again, lack of ambition from Levy has cost us Harry Kane. There's apparently, I mean, the international players are off till the 12th of July, and then they come back, and there are talks scheduled between Ange and Harry. I think Ange is, for those people that have seen him, talks pretty straight, and I think he'll say to Harry, either you're in or you're out here.
Either
And
in
I
or you're out, mate.
he'd be the
Like
one,
that.
yeah. And I think he'll say to Harry, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. Go. And it might be he'll take responsibility for that decision. He's big enough to make that kind of decision. If it were me, I think I would be saying to Kane, look, sign a 4-year contract. We'll let you go after. If we haven't won anything in 2 years, you can go for a fee of £40 million or something like that.
Something realistic, yeah, for a player that's going to be his age and whatnot. Yeah.
Because I think in an ideal world, I think he loves Tottenham. I think he loves the club. I think he loves the fans. I think this record will be on his mind. I think the way he reacted to beating Jimmy Greaves' record suggests that beating Shearer's record would be important to him. And if Levy were to let him go now, it will not be to Chelsea or Manchester United. It will be to.
He would have to think that he's coming back to the Premier League at some point in his career to come back and break that record. Right.
Yeah. And if but by that time, a club isn't going to sign Harry Kane for under 4 years if they're having to pay £80 million, let's say, for a 29-year-old. They're going to want at least 4 years from that. Now, maybe at 32, 33, even 5-year contract, 35, he can come back and score a lot of goals. But the reality is, for most players at 35, there is a deterioration. So,
for sure, he'd be playing for a much lower level team in the Premier League. It'd be like a mid-table team from the way I imagine it. But he would still poke some in. That's what she said. But he'd still poke some in, I feel like, even as an older man. I get what you're saying, though. There's risk involved in that. He has to decide, as far as his career goes, I guess, what's most important to him and his legacy. And I mean, since we don't know that decision, there's no England matches coming up for the press to, for the press to ask him. So we're going to be left guessing.
Don't tell anybody I said this. Harry Kane hasn't delivered in big matches for either Tottenham or England. There is this reality there.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have played in the Champions League final. I mean, I think that was a huge error by.
At least not started. Yeah, starting it, I think, was definitely where the error lied, in my opinion, was him starting. I could see him getting minutes, especially if things had gone the way they had, butterfly effect, though they wouldn't have. But things have gone the way they've gone. I could see him getting minutes, to try to chase that goal. But then anyway, that's a whole other thing.
I mean, but the reality is he hasn't delivered in a big, England have been in European, world semi-finals, European finals. Tottenham have been in semi-finals and finals.
Cup finals.
And you say, name one that Harry Kane has dominated. And you can't.
Just grabbed by the scruff of the neck and made his own.
That's what the truly great players do, Colin. That's what the truly great players do. I'm not saying he's not great; he is a great player, but he hasn't dominated a major cup semi-final or final on a domestic or world level.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Like I was saying, I cannot argue that at all, and that's 100% true. And I also have to wonder too, and this is something you'll always wonder, but are we hindering ourselves at all by forcing all of our play to go through Kane? I've played at obviously like a very low level, right? But you tend to lean on players that are considered your best. Not only do you lean on them, but they demand that they are leaned on with, and so you do, and you kind of. I don't want to say fall back or shirk away the pressure, but you know what I mean? They're willing to kind of take some for you. So instead of you having to give 100%, you can give like 85 and then pass the ball to Kane. I don't know. I just wonder if we are if we'll be better off. That sounds so bad. Obviously, we won't be better off, but will we be more of a cohesive unit, a team that functions better? The ball passes through you know what I mean? It just seems like we might function more cohesively. And I don't know if that's like what Ange ball. It sounds kind of like some total football type of stuff to me. And Kane doesn't exactly fit that mold. He's not an obvious like bad fit, but it's not a perfect fit.
I'm always wary of arguments that say sell your best player for £80 million and go out and buy, three £30 million players to replace him with. I know there's a £10 million change there, but in general, the clubs that are successful sign and keep their best players. I'm not persuaded that the best business model is to get rid of your best players for a rebuild. And if the Bale money is a case in point where we signed 7 players and only Christian Eriksen was really worth the money that we got. So
Eric Lamela is awesome.
My view is it's not a football decision. I think he's replaceable under Ange with a more natural penalty box striker. Mm-hmm. But Kane can play penalty box striker. In fact, Kane, shorn of the responsibility. Look at, I've got players. I've got Maddison. I've got Lo Celso. I've got Hatate. I've got Kulusevski. I've got Son. All there providing chances for you to finish in the middle. You don't need to worry and come back and play the number 10 because
that's true.
I've got 2 number 8s that double as a number 10 plus my inverted fullbacks that will come in and win the ball high up the field or the penalty area. I've got your wide forwards that will come in and supplement. You don't need to come back and play the number 10. All you need to do is be in the box and score 35 goals a season. And that's the sort of thing that might persuade Kane to stay. I've gone back on that.
I agree. I don't think you're wrong. I think that if anything is going to convince him to stay, I think that's it. You have to admit that the man must be tired of carrying the whole team on his back. And I'm not saying you were saying he doesn't necessarily do that or do a great job, but I mean there are times when we don't have any plan that he just goes out and it's like, well, I plan on scoring now. You know what I mean? And because of Kane single-handedly won us many points this season. I don't know the exact number. I'm a poor host. I have some notes over here on this screen, but not that number. But Kane single-handedly won us points. But that isn't to say another striker wouldn't have scored some of those goals. It's all swings and roundabouts, I guess, really. But we'll never really know.
But he's a wonderful striker. He's a wonderful striker. You do wonder if one of the things that Kane had on his mind was sign Maddison.
Yeah, they obviously know each other from the England setup, right? Because Maddison's had his proper England call up, right?
Yeah, when you think Declan Rice is going for 105 million. And we've got Maddison for 40. I know who's got the better of that deal, and it ain't Arsenal. It's going to be interesting, but it goes back to your question. If he says no, I really want to leave. My instinct would be not to lose him for free next summer and where the likelihood is he'll probably go to another English club. I'd rather lose him for 80 million now.
Have him go abroad where we don't have to face it.
Go away where he's not damaging us and hurting us. And I think he might prefer that anyway. But I'm still not persuaded. The double negative. I'm still not persuaded that he won't sign a new contract. If he's offered, and particularly I say my idea of I'll say 4 years, but 2 years, you can go after 2 if we haven't won anything for this fee. It's all agreed.
Sign a 1-year extension, see what Ange ball's about, and then work on it from there.
Well, there's that as well. I mean, I don't think we can go. I don't think we can get to the first, when does it end? 31st. When does the transfer window end? 31st of August. I don't think we can get to the 1st of September with Kane not having signed a contract and still on our books. I don't see that. I don't think
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
We don't need another Sol Campbell situation. I know Kane would never go to Arsenal, but I hate Chelsea almost as much. By the way, real quick, before we go on, I just wanted to throw this out there and say happy birthday to Danny Rose, who turns 33 today.
Yeah.
So,
Danny, sorry, who are you? I'll have to Google you.
Danny Google Rose. Everybody, after that whole Google incident, I feel like a lot of people lost some respect for him, but I actually gained some. He unlike most players, doesn't just give you like the cookie cutter answer to things. Tells you how he really feels.
Well,
is that necessarily the right thing to do with a weird, sketchy publication before we have I forget what the circumstances were. There was a match coming up. I mean, is what he did right? No, but I don't.
But mental health. Danny's had mental health issues, and anyone that's either had mental health issues or knows someone that's had mental health issues knows that if you've suffered from them, your perception of reality and everybody else's is sometimes different. And I think that was part of the problem. And I don't know why he didn't get more help from the club or whatever.
I think he has raised awareness. I'm sure that there's more help in that department now than there probably was before that happened. I'm absolutely sure. But you hark back because you think one of the reasons why Harry Kane would be pissed off would be it doesn't matter how many goals I score, the schmucks at the other end of the field letting them in. So what is the point? When you look back with Lloris at his prime and Toby and Jan and Carl Walker and Danny Rose. I mean, no kidding.
What a back four. When you compare it to what we've got now.
And I think even after this summer, we'll still. I mean, our back four will obviously have improved, but now we're having a group of players that have to learn to play ball together. They have to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses, and
absolutely.
There will absolutely be bugs. There will be bugs in this. There will be cracks at times. But I just think that we all gotta stay behind Ange. But so I got some more puns if you're ready.
Go on.
Harvey preparing an improved bid for Barnes.
Did you think of that all by your on your?
I did. It's really embarrassing, actually. Yeah.
I think Harvey Barnes is a perfect player for Ange Ball.
Thank you. I've seen him shit on. I can curse now, but I've seen him shit on by so many people all over the internet as not good enough to play for Spurs. And to me, that's laughable. But continue with what you were going to say.
I've read so much. I read so much absolute crap on the internet. I mean, the thing is, there are plenty of people on the internet who've got really good insight and knowledge of the game. There are others you wonder if they've ever watched a game of football in their lives. And if you watch Celtic, the way that Celtic set up, with Jota and Maeda as the preferred two wide forwards, not quite touchline hugging, but fairly close. Okay. And Harvey Barnes plays that role really well. And in fact, there's a lot of suggestion that if Kane went, you could play Son as the penalty box player. And Harvey Barnes wide on the left would work. We got Richarlison as well, who, I mean, unless someone's coming in with a big money offer for him, second season, maybe
give him another chance. With a manager that maybe has more of a plan for him. Yeah.
I got that.
Son as a striker is interesting. That's an interesting thought. I hadn't really thought it takes away his weaknesses as of late, which have been his take-ons have been terrible. So having him as the in-the-box striker would help there.
Yeah, penalty box. The ball goes into the box, tends to go in low. It doesn't tend to go in high that often. He's got good little movement. is a natural goal scorer. It's a role he could play. Richarlison as well. I mean, it's the defence. I don't know if you're going to come on to the defence, but it's the defence that clearly needs addressing. I would love Harvey Barnes at Tottenham. He doesn't necessarily need to be a starter if Kane stays and Son is the left-sided striker. Harvey Barnes on the bench to come on against a tiring defence with his pace and movement, passing quality. Not good enough for Tottenham. Give me a break.
No kidding. Exactly. I think
break. We're not mad. Who do we think? Whoa. Sorry, my screen just went there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're still here.
I'm still there. No, okay. I don't know what happened there. My screen just went absolutely blank, but I just pressed it. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what happened. But anyway, I was just saying, do me a favour. Who do we think we are, Manchester City or whatever? Harvey Barnes.
I get.
Yes, he is, and he's a perfect player for Ange. Perfect.
There he is again, the man. I think he would be great as well. We got Cody Fredrickson watching. This is one of my one of my longest friends in life, honestly. What's up, Cody? Thanks for watching, buddy. But he said, yeah, big signing, Kulusevski on a full. Yeah, I mean, we were always going to, I think. It was never a question of, like, if we were or weren't. It was just trying to negotiate that price down, which we did. People will hate on Levy for all kinds of stuff, but, man, we got a lowered fee on that deal.
The deal was – I mean, I don't know, Cody, I don't know you. So is he an American as well?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He's a Bayern fan. He's a Bayern fan, funny enough. He's got a lot of family in Germany. And, so this excites him. He's excited about this.
Most American states law is based on English common law because, most of you lot came from us lot originally, or a lot of you lot. The contract to sign Kulusevski from Juve was conditional upon us making Champions League. We didn't, so the conditions of the contract weren't fulfilled. So Levy was absolutely entitled to go back and say we'd still like him, but we're not in Champions League, and we've got £60 million or whatever less income this year. So we'd like to renegotiate. That's Levy at his very best. And if he saves, and the same people that say when Reyes, when Brentford want 40 million for Raya, and we go out and sign what appears to be at least as good a goalkeeper for 17 million. They're the sort of people that moan when we don't sign an extra centre half because we haven't got that last 20 million pounds to sign the centre half that we need. So I'm all for if we can save money in the transfer market wherever we can save it. And there's still budget there.
It's a portion of a player.
Buy what we need. Yeah.
Yeah. It all adds up. It's like saving your coins, Yeah. Well, I guess you guys have a lot more coin money than we do, but it's like, as an American, we end up with like pockets full of just useless heavy change. You save it up, man, and turn that into paper money. And same kind of deal, obviously, with signings.
Sure.
So Kulusevski though is I think a great signing. I think he'll do well under Ange. From what I've
I think he will as well. But I'm going to put another name in that I've been talking about for this right-sided attack role, and that's Porro. Porro was bought as a right wing back. Well, whatever Ange plays, I mean, he might revert maybe in away games, or he might go with 4-2-3-1. I can't guarantee he won't play 4-2-3-1. I can't, but I think that he's going to try 4-3-3. It worked very well at Celtic. Porro is not a fullback. Porro's defensive work is at times horrible, but his attacking work is really, really good. And the other thing is we can't spend money in every position. We're going to have to strengthen where the priority lies. I can see Porro very much being another player alongside Kulusevski that can play that right-sided role in the same way as I think Harvey Barnes and Son would be the perfect ones to play the left-sided attack role. And then you've got Kane and Richarlison. Your forward line, I think if you do that, is pretty well okay. And then you go back, well, who's going to play right back? And I think the improvement in Emerson, to me, makes him a natural. He's a far better defender than Porro. Far better defender than Porro. And of course, with Maddison coming in there, we've got a lot more creativity. Emerson as well could probably do the inverted role reasonably well. But the other player, and everybody seems to have forgotten about him, is Jed Spence. Now, we haven't got Conte clearly didn't fancy him. He was a club signing, whatever that meant. I mean, it was a terrible
shitty thing to say, right?
Well, is it nothing?
So,
what
a terrible thing to say. It's for a player's confidence. You know what I mean?
Well,
why would you?
Exactly the point I was going to say. You're absolutely what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You join a new company, and your departmental manager says, "Yeah, the managing director chose you, not me." It's like, well, how does that make you feel? So it was an idiotic comment by Conte. And a lot of things he said, a lot of things I lost respect for him over. But that was an utterly stupid thing he said. But Spence is a better defender and has a lot to offer going forward. Now I know, I think in that Forest team, he played pretty well right back as a marauding right back. So he might well be, again, Emerson and Spence for me, with Porro and Kulusevski. We've got the players in the squad for Ange Ball in those positions.
That right side's pretty short up. Then, from your point of view,
So that's
I'm getting excited. I'm actually excited for next season. Well, this is an awesome feeling.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone watching that doesn't know me, I live in Scotland. Although Spurs is my first love, Celtic is very much my second. So I've watched a lot of Celtic and how they play, and obviously given a lot of thought to how Tottenham might play with their existing personnel, but with new personnel, with Ange. I mean, I think the main problem is we've probably got too many players to play that pivot number 6 role.
I was going to ask who you thought fit there better. Do you think we have the play? God, do you think Dyer's going to get a shot there? So I mean, we've got potentially Dyer. You've got why can't I think of the Vikings? Højbjerg. We've got Højbjerg. We've got Dyer maybe. Who else do you see for that role?
Bissouma, Bentancur, Sarr, and Skip. I think we've got so many options there.
So sorry, do you see them as? So there's the one he plays like one holding midfielder though, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Bissouma or Sarr are capable of that. They do keep the tempo very well. You know what I mean? And they'd be good at that. What we say Winks was good at. Recycling the ball and keeping the tempo going.
I think we're going to have to see. I mean, the role's played there by Callum McGregor. And he's a little sort of pocket dynamo, but he's a smart footballer. I think it's probably a role for Bissouma.
Interesting.
Or Bentancur. But Skip and Sarr, they could both play it. The one player, and funny enough, I've had this in Ange's Highland, would the fullbacks be positionally similar to a fullback? Can I come back to that?
Yeah, of course.
Can I come back to that question? Because it's an important question, because it's actually yes and no. I don't know if you picked up. I've been having some debate with Jens. On social media about Højbjerg.
I haven't seen that.
He's really a Højbjerg fan. I like Højbjerg. I just don't think he's got the mobility or the passing range to play Ange Ball. As we talked about, winning the ball back and the speed of transition, aka Pep's tactics. I don't see Højbjerg being able to do that. In the same ways, I don't think Winks could do that. You've got to get the ball and then find a pass. And one of the reasons I suggested Dyer, we maybe talk about the defence. And I've got maybe 20 minutes, half an hour at most. I've got a gym class book that I need to get to. Otherwise, I get sanctioned. Is that Dyer is a decent passer of a football. He's not a centre half, and I'm disappointed that both Mourinho and Conte didn't just say, if you want to play centre half, you have to play it somewhere else because you're not good enough as a central defender to play here. But Dyer is a very good passer of the ball. If he can win the ball high up the field, he's got a good long and short range passer. It's a good long and short range passer of the ball, so he could play it. He would also, because I'm hoping we're going to have a good clear out of central defenders. I'd like to see Sanchez, Tanganga, and Rodon moved out of the club, but we can't move everybody out. So I would be keeping Davis and I would be keeping Dyer as at least squad players, because you can't lose everybody, and you're not going to be signing, 25 million centre halves, and some of them to sit in the stand. So Dyer is one, and I think he'll experiment a little bit with the players that he's got. Sarr, still a bit young. Skip, still a bit young, but they've got that dynamism. I mean, probably Skip is the closest to Callum McGregor that we've got. But he disappointed when he came into the side last season. Now, I have to say, people that know me and Brian Daigle know that we're diametrically opposed on a lot of things, particularly in terms of the ownership issue, which we have a laugh about. But funnily enough, when we talk about football, we're pretty well absolutely on the same level. And we are both huge Ollie Skip fans. I watched a lot of him when he went to Norwich, because there was a lot of talk about him. So, well, Saturday afternoon, 3:00, Spurs aren't playing. Let's put Norwich on and let's watch and see. And he was so impressive. He was the best player in the Champions.
He looked a treat for sure.
But when he came back into the side last year,
was it just last year?
Christmas, he was just, and to some extent, he was a little bit like Winks, a little bit like a rabbit caught in the headlights. The number of times that he got caught in possession really worried me. And I think for Skip, it's a real make or break season. That if he doesn't develop this season, he really does need to move on, because I don't think we can keep the number of players that we're going to have for that holding midfield role. There's talk that they want to move Højbjerg out, and I totally understand that. He's the one player
still has some value, you know what I mean?
With some value as well. But I can understand why. Knowing what I do, I think I know about Ange, but I can absolutely understand why Ange wants to move him out, particularly as he can't accommodate everybody.
To me, Højbjerg and Skip have seemed just about as effective, and so if you can get rid of one, which is the older player that still has value, it makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense to do it. I interrupted you though, my friend. I'm so sorry.
He's also homegrown, and that's not
big.
You have to remember, particularly if for example, we lost Kane, that would be another homegrown player. Hi, Chris. Hi, good morning to you.
Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for choosing to spend the morning here, buddy.
Let me go back to that question. I know I'm talking a lot, but
no, I love it. I know you're on a time limit, so I just want as much Ian as I can get for while I have you.
Well, the question about the fullbacks, he doesn't play wing backs. He plays, again, I go back to this article in the Athletic about Ange and how he sets up. So his fullbacks, when the ball's in the team's possession, the fullbacks will invert. So if you can picture picking the ball up, say on the edge of the centre circle, our half. The fullbacks will be like an inside left, inside right position. So they might be 10 yards away on the left and on the right. But when the attack goes down that side, the fullbacks don't necessarily stay inside. There'll be some in interchange. So the fullback might come outside the outside of the wide right player, or they might come inside. Depending upon the way the move is going. So you can understand sort of a Spence driving inside to pick up a ball from Kulusevski, or you can understand Emerson going outside to feed Kulusevski's left foot. It's there will be
dynamism is beautiful.
But so they're not really wing backs at all. But without possession, it's a definite 4. But they will be encouraged to get forward, both in that inverted role early in the move, but wide or inside later in the move. You effectively you can be going with 5-6 forwards. With the fullbacks, maybe if the moves down the right, the left-sided, the left back won't go as high. But you'll get, if you've got, for example, let's say we play Spence. I'd love to see Spence given a goal. You've got Kulusevski, Spence, you've got Maddison, you've got Kane, you've got Son, and you've got whoever your left-sided number 8 is. Hattati or maybe Bentancur or Lo Celso. I could talk about Lo Celso in a minute if you like. All they're able to contribute to the attack, and if it doesn't result in a goal, you've got players high up the field that can win it and get the ball back into the box quickly. And that's what I say the fans will like. So that I hope that answers your question, Dragon, as to how. But as I say, there's a brilliant article in The Athletic, if you can get access to it, about how Celtic set up with their inverted fullbacks. It's a really well written, researched piece. Really well done piece.
I will absolutely have to check that out myself. So yeah, that was, I feel like, a pretty good and thorough explanation of how the fullbacks will work. You mentioned Jed Spence a couple of times. I can tell you're excited and think that he deserves a chance. I completely agree with that. You got a thumbs up from Dragon. Thanks, Dragon. You're a good man. You're a good man, sir, or woman. Miss. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to just guess your gender. But yeah, so we have just a little bit more time, and I wanted to kind of this is territory that's not exactly Spurs, but it is. So we talked about Declan Rice briefly and him going to Arsenal. I think that the move that everybody's kind of not paying enough attention to is Kai Havertz. I feel like even though he's had a very, very underwhelming season, I feel like he could be a really, really good player for Arsenal. Arsenal, I hate to say it, they're building a good team. They're building a good team, and with Havertz, with this, I hate this image. This is the only time this is ever going to be on my channel. Ugh. But with those two players, I feel like they're doing something good. I mean, they've gotten rid of Thomas Partey, or they are getting rid of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you sort of worried about what United or not United? But what Arsenal are putting together?
I'm worried about what everybody's putting together. Everybody is buying good players. I mean, that's the nature of the Premier League now. Arsenal
so much money from TV.
Players. Phenomenal. And I mean, we still need to be spending big. I still think there's money in the kitty for us to spend. We will always look for decent value. But I say Maddison at 40 million, I think is phenomenal value. Barnes at 25 million would be phenomenal value.
Is that the quoted fee? That would be wonderful. I'd move it up I'd go up to 30 for him, I think. But that's just me.
Yeah, I don't think he's not a £50 million player. I mean, what have they paid for Havertz? They played 55.
50. It was 50 for Havertz, 50 for when I saw pounds, and then 105
million pounds for the structure. I mean, and they're still not finished. I mean, we've been looked with this Mickey van der Ven, and apparently he's having a medical at Arsenal now. If he was a player,
no kidding.
Yeah,
apparently having an Arsenal medical.
I would love to think we're trying to hijack that deal, but no, I'm not sure.
So there was another defender we had been looking at, kind of as a Van de Ven backup, but I can't think of his name.
The names I've got written down, I did that just because of Tapsoba, I think it is, a Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, Tapsoba is the one.
Adarabio of Fulham, and Guri as well at Palace. But the kind of money the English clubs, I mean, they were looking at 50 million for Guri, and I think that's a lot of money.
Adebayo, or if I'm pronouncing it correctly, it looks to be the better player of the two. I'm not sure how much Fulham would want. Like you said, we're paying that Premier League tax.
Well, we certainly need a good left-sided central defender. I'm not persuaded that Langley is any upgrade on Davis. If we could get two other really good central defenders, As I say, I would keep as utility players. I would keep Davis and Dyer as backup. Dyer because he could as in an emergency play centre half or in that pivot in the midfield. Davis because he can go into the left-sided centre half role or he can play left back as options if we need options. I don't see either of them being first choice, but I didn't see anything from Langley to make me think he was an improvement on Davis, if I'm honest.
But I know that we've pointed this out, and you as much as anybody else, but we haven't seen these players perform in a system where they're not constantly pinned back. You know what I mean? I think it'll be nice to see the way. I know a defender defends, right, and that shouldn't matter. That shouldn't matter the system or the setup, but I do think that some of these players and maybe even the defenders are going to benefit from the change in style. At Barca, he didn't do that. You know what I mean? At Barca, they didn't sit back and just get, hammered over and over and over again. And so I feel like it's not the football that he's used to. And I'm giving excuses to people. It's what I do. I like to play devil's advocate a little bit and hype up the player that's being. But you know what I mean? I think that I don't know. After this, who's to say? Who's to say, right? I know that you can say that about everyone, and then what's the point of this show? But I guess I'm saying I think that Ange ball is going to be good for all players, including Mr. Langley. He's not terrible. I mean, you say no better than Davis. I honestly, other than getting beat for pace, Davis doesn't make that many and getting beat in the air. He doesn't make that many mistakes.
No,
he's not.
No,
he's not nearly as terrible of a player as people make out.
I don't think so. I mean, if Scott said he was going off and would watch it later, if he watches it later, he'll be throwing things at his computer because he hates Davis and he hates Dyer with a passion. I don't think they're that bad either. But there's no doubt if we want to improve, then they can't start. But it's a squad game.
Exactly. Put him on the bench. I think Davis still is only on what, $70K a week? Oh my God! What sense does it make to get rid of him?
Yeah. But I would like Romero and a quality central defender plus one more better as backup.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm looking at Davis can cover at left back. I'm hoping Reguilon's come back and says he's really looking forward to it. And I'd like to have another look at Reguilon because I think Reguilon might fit. We've got the Udogi Destiny if you've got everything on Reguilon. Yeah, we haven't rehearsed this, guys, if you're watching. Destiny looks like he might be a very good player as a left back as well.
Quite an unknown, but yes.
But everything about him with his pace and I've seen some YouTube stuff.
He's a strong guy.
He can tackle. So, I think, if you keep Davis as an auxiliary central defender, emergency central defender, emergency left back, going to have a good look at Reguilon, going to have Destiny. You've got cover there. Similarly, when you on that right side, of the right wing, if you say bring Spence into the equation and Emerson, I think we're covered there. Great if we've got Romero. I know it's a bit rash, but we've got Romero there. Then if we sign one more real high quality left-sided central defender, and then one player that again high quality that can play in the centre. I think we're cooking with gas. I think we're absolutely cooking with gas.
And that's not an impossible list of players. I mean, like what you said isn't impossible. It's not like you're asking for something that's not doable here.
I'm looking for two central defenders, and I'm looking at the moment at a left-sided wing player. I mean, we forget Brian Gill and whether he'll get sold or loaned back. I mean, and again, this goes back to Conte. Everyone says he's too light. There's no way he's a Premier League player. At the back end of the year, he started to put together 2 or 3 quite good performances, even cameos. Let's have a look at him for the rest of the season. And what do we do?
Agree. Save some fees for. Wait, is he already gone back to Spain?
If he wants to go back to Spain, it's the same with Celso, same with Reguilon, although Reguilon seems keen to try and have a go in London again. But if Gil fancies giving it a go, and Lo Celso fancies giving it a go, I'd love to see. They're good players.
Yeah,
let's see how they cope. But all I'm saying is, from where we are now, we might need another goalkeeper as well, but as a backup goalkeeper. But I think we need a backup left-sided forward, and we need two central defenders. I think that's all we need to go forward. And remember, I think we need to lose Sessegnon. I think we need to lose probably one of the other central midfield players, because there isn't a game for all of them. And we haven't mentioned
no European football. So
we haven't mentioned Ndombele, who again is someone played that. If he's shorn of some defensive responsibility, may work. We know he's got talent. I don't know. I have a great belief you can't teach attitude, but we all know there's a footballer in there. But Celso and Ndombele, Gil, Sessegnon, maybe one other of the midfield players, Sanchez, Rodon, and Tanganga. That's 8 players that and Lloris. So that's 9 players we should be looking to possibly ship out that aren't going to weaken our first 11 or even our second 11. And a lot's going to depend on who, what Postecoglou sees in training, particularly from the likes of Lo Celso or from Ndombele, and whether he thinks he can make them fit that left-sided number 8 position, because there's no doubt they've got the ability. And again, Lo Celso, in a system that might suit him better, could really flourish. He was often played as I didn't see that quote, but as a deep lying midfield player, and was ineffective. Well, it's not his job, and there isn't a role for him there. We've got enough number 6s in the club to last us a lifetime. What we're looking for is left-sided number 8. There's 2 number 8s, not a number 10, and this left-sided number 8, which you might want to go out and buy Hatate or someone else to fill that role. But Lo Celso and/or Ndombele could play it if they want to play it. They want to play for Tottenham, and particularly Ndombele gets his head in gear, because there's no doubt they've got the ability.
Oh man, yeah, he's got ability I haven't seen since forever. You know what I mean? I could go on and on about him. I loved him. I was excited about him for about a year before he signed. I thought, hey, we finally have found our Moussa Dembele replacement, and on top of that, he was like Modric and Dembele put together. It was incredible the way that he played. And I say that like he's dead or something. The man still plays football and is still his first player. So he could well turn it around, and I think that he'll fit in with Ange, because this is what I was gonna. So the quote, the font is terrible, but he says, "I love to win, mate. That's the main thing. I've done that wherever I've been. So the football is designed to bring success." I love it. I think our players are going to love it. I think that attitude is going to quickly rub off onto all the players and the coaching staff. And I know that he's bringing a lot of his own coaching staff, or that might have changed actually. But at one point he was attempting to bring.
He doesn't tend to travel with a big entourage. It's actually interesting that John Kennedy, who was his number 2 at Celtic, was wanted, but he's decided to stay at Celtic.
Cool.
Maybe
good for him, I guess.
Well, he's a Scottish boy, a Celtic, an Irish Catholic boy.
For that job, maybe for that managerial position.
Well, I think that's possibly where he's at. That he's going to be groomed for it. That Brendan Rodgers will do is 3-4 years. That's what he tends to do, and that Kennedy would be there to step up. Maybe thinks, well, if Ange doesn't work at Tottenham, or Levy doesn't give him the time, because it's not as if Levy has any history of that I'll just be out of work, and where will I go then? So I can understand it from that point of view. But he's brought in the Leicester coach, which is another reason why. That's an interesting question as well. I haven't mentioned him at all. And
there is right there.
And he might be another one for that left-sided left-sided number 8.
Number 8. Yeah, I didn't think about it.
Yeah. We've got the players.
Spoiled for choice, yeah. I think we should save all of our money for the defense. Ian, I think all our money goes to defense, and we make do with the players that we have to get that, midfield under control. That's just me. That's just what I'm doing. If I've got a limited budget, which it seems like Spurs always do, I'm going all out. I'm spending all my money on defenders. And you know what I mean? And then everything else is in-house, baby.
Keep talking. I am going to, because I know we're not top professionals here. I'm going to make myself another cup of tea while we're talking, because I'll stay on a bit before my class.
Perfect. Perfect. No, you're good, buddy. You're good.
And if I go back to my my nemesis Brian Daigle, he's another huge fan of Alfie Devine and thinks he's someone we should be given a chance to. So when we go on our Far East tour and what have you, it'll be interesting to see if he gives him any time, because he is certainly a player with an awful lot of ability. And Conte was the absolute worst for not being willing or able to give some of the young players a real go. And it's almost like the reset. If we're going to go out and buy, although Van der Ven is apparently only 22, but if we're going to go out and buy some established players to make sure the reset's there, and then you start to say, well, yeah, but some of the replacements come from the academy and come from the coaching and what have you. I think that's a business model that works. It will certainly work for Daniel, but it should work for fans as well, because much as we all like big name signings, there's something really satisfying about. I mean, when I was a teenager, we would go to the old football combination, which was the reserve league. Spurs were playing away from home. If we didn't go, we would go and watch the reserves play. So you would watch a young lad called Glenn Hoddle playing and think, my God, he's going to be a player. And then someone like Mickey Hazard and Neil McNabb, in those days, maybe before your time, Colin, but they were playing in the reserves, and you thought, that's a player. I remember when Mickey Hazard got his first team debut, and never heard of him, and you could say, he's a little bit there's a touch of the Hoddle and a touch of the McNabbs about him, and he turned into a very, very good player. And those are the people that go to games. You'll often, I don't know where he lives, but he's on the train station at seen him on White Hart Lane train station, taking the same way as me, and he's just, at the end of the day, he's just a fan. Like the rest of us.
I love it. I love that. There, like you said, there's something special about that. When the players. Okay, so I was telling people, for Ange, this isn't a stopgap. I need a job type thing. Like, he really sees Spurs as a higher place than he's been. Spurs is a giant step up to him. Spurs is where he wants to be. It's kind of his dream job. It's the Premier League. To a lot of other managers, it would be just another job. It would be a stepping stone to something better. It would be getting their name back out there in Mourinho's case. I just think we've got the guy who wants to be here. And what you're saying about homegrown players, it kind of translates over to that as well. I mean, they love the team as much as we do. And so I think they give a different amount of effort and have a different amount of pride for the shirt.
And much as we've not been as successful over the last 20 years or so as we would like to have been, there's no getting away from the fact that on whatever analysis you put forward, Tottenham Hotspur is a massive, massive football club. And what I detested about Mourinho, and particularly Conte, was this idea they're doing us a favour by managing us.
Yes.
Nobody does Tottenham Hotspur a favour by being our manager.
We existed before them, and will exist long after them. I mean, I don't know who they think they are. You're right, 100%.
Yeah.
It's we let ourselves sort of be talked down to in that scenario, and I feel like I don't know. It's
neither to me. Neither Mourinho or Conte could actually coach. I mean, you name a player that got better under Conte. I can think of a lot that got worse.
I thought you were going to say Mourinho, and for what bad he did. He did get Son and Kane really, really firing.
Yeah.
All he did was free Son of any defensive duty, have him camp out at the halfway line, and then break.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't.
But the Conte role was just I was excited when he came. Really excited. It was a disaster.
You and I are the kind of guys, though, that we'll do our research. We'll get excited about whoever's coming because we care about the team. We love the team. We're not terribly like down people in general. We look for the bright side. We look for the upside to whatever situation we're in. I can tell that you're kind of like that too. I appreciate
absolutely.
it.
And if I can't do something with enthusiasm, I won't do it at all. But the bottom line is Postecoglou was my number one choice from the minute the job. You know, and anyone who follows me on social media can look back. In fact, I put on my pinned tweet a very, very lengthy tweet I wrote about Postecoglou, and this was when he was being speculated about why I thought he was perfect for Tottenham. If anyone's got a spare 20 minutes, it probably takes that to read it. But he was my number one choice. And what's interesting as well, if you look at social media, for all we complain about some of the crap you read, there's a lot of people that were like, I wasn't sure, but now I'm starting to really like what he says. When he went to Celtic had courted all summer of 21. Celtic had courted Eddie Howe. And it was all a matter of sorting out the terms and this and that and what have you. And there was, wherever there was a disagreement over backroom staff or whatever, Eddie Howe, after whatever it was, 2 months of negotiating, didn't come to Celtic. And a few minutes later, they had this guy Postecoglou, and it's like, who? And it's this is just a joke, manager coming in and what have you. And 2 seasons of fantastic football and 5 trophies out of 6. Rangers supporters were desperate to see the back of him, and Celtic supporters are really upset to lose him. And I think there'll be some Spurs supporters maybe who are sceptical. I'm not going to say it's going to be instant success. It never is, but I think Spurs fans enjoy the football. They'll enjoy the football immensely, and he's been successful in everywhere he's been. So
it's always good to have the team where your manager's coming from. It's good when their fans are upset to see him go. And that's a good sign. That's a good thing. So, I mean, I think we're doing it real quick. I know you got to go in like minutes.
I would like to nip off because I've got a gym class, and I'm going to go and do it.
Please be there. Don't be late. Have fun. Do it
for
your health.
It's been a pleasure, Colin.
My friend. Ian, it's always great. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to start doing these more often. And so I'm kind of a night owl. We'll get these early morning ones, but everybody go check him out on Twitter at Shaggy1712. He is there. Ian, thanks so much for being
here, buddy.
It's always a pleasure. Have a good rest
of your day. If the weather had been sunny today, I'd have been on the golf course and I wouldn't have been on. But these early morning ones, they'll work for me quite a lot of times. So big up, guys. Thanks for your comments in the chat. For those of you, try and find that article in the Athletic a week or so ago.
Yeah, I'll see if I can put a link to it in the video for everybody who's watching back.
It's a really, really, really good read, and it'll you can start to transpose Tottenham players into that system, James. And you'll see how I've tried to talk about the kind of players who I think are right for Ange Ball. So we will see.
Perfect.
Anyway.
Perfect.
All right.
Hey, on that note, thank you again, Ian.
Pleasure, Colin. Thanks.
Be safe.
Enjoy. Take care, Andrew. Cheers, everybody.
See you, buddy. All right, so that leaves just me. The awkward moment where I'm like, do I continue this stream? Do I talk by myself? The link is out there for anybody that would like to join. And if you have not seen it, it's up there. So I'll post it again. Here's the link for anybody that is interested. You can join. You can have kind of your platform to say whatever you want. God, actually, no, not whatever you want. Please don't be an idiot. But you have your own platform. You can come talk with me about football. Doesn't have to be Spurs. I actually have some other things kind of on my mind too. I think Havertz to Arsenal is a lot bigger and scarier of a move than anyone's giving it credit for. Like, has he looked a good player for Chelsea? No. But that Chelsea team was dysfunctional and didn't work, and he is a great player. And unfortunately, I think that he's going to be good for Arsenal. So we're going to have to watch out. That's not a good thing. So Arsenal is strengthening and key players. I mean, Declan Rice and now Havertz. We need to. I know Ian and I just got done talking, and I said that I think, for right now, save your money for midfield. But gosh, I hope Ange can kind of get the best out of some of the players we have, because other teams are improving in that area where we need to spend the majority of our funds improving defense. And so yeah, it'll be a fun rest of the summer. I'd love to know what you guys think. Maybe in the comments you could throw in your most believable transfer rumors that you've heard. I'm sure there's some that you've heard that I have not. I know that there's been some talk of Amrabat coming. That would be pretty cool. Good World Cup showing for Morocco. So that would be pretty neat. That wouldn't be a bad signing in my opinion. Who would he replace? Ian and I also mentioned our midfield is just stacked. We are overloaded in the midfield, but not with a ton of starting type talent, in my opinion. So there's going to need to be a clear out there. So yeah, if you're here and you're watching, and I want to say thank you if you are, thank you. But if you're here, let's hear it. The most believable transfer rumor that you've heard. And I might kind of go ahead and skip through. Again, thank you for spending your late night / morning here at Talking Ball. We truly appreciate it. I don't know how many people watch the MLS that are here, but my local team, which would be Nashville SC, they had a nice win, and I just wanted to shout them out real quick before we get back to Spurs stuff. Nashville SC had a win. Double from Leal, and I put Izzy for Leo. Let me get the right. Izzy for Leo. Double with a brace today to secure all 3 points for Nashville SC. So yeah, we'll get back to Spurs stuff. But thanks for indulging me, everyone. Got to support the local team. Got to show pride for the boys in gold. So yeah. Anyway, I kind of think that actually puts us at a good stopping point. The last thing I wish I could have asked Ian about, and I'll kind of pose this to you guys as well. I don't know about y'all, but I miss me some Harry Redknapp, and I see glimpses and bits of Redknapp in Postecoglou. I think Postecoglou is going to be, dare I say it, and I mean, man, I'm putting the really big expectations on this guy, but he seems to me like kind of an amalgamation of our man Harry right here and Pochettino. I mean, I think he's got a fire that neither of them had, but I think he's going to be able to put his arm around players the way that both managers could. I think that he's going to have more structure about him than Harry. But I just think that he can be a friend to the players that need it. He can be a father figure to the players that need it. He's got a good system of football behind him. I don't know. The future is bright. The future is lily white. And again, I guess I'll end on that note. Sorry that we're ending so early, but thank you to everyone who's watched. Thank you, James. I appreciate you, buddy. So hey, thank you to everybody who's watched and kind of stuck with it. To reward you, after the normal outro video, I will make sure to get in a special video for everybody. So please stay tuned to the end. And again, it's been. Did I see the intro from Madison? I'm not sure. So I saw him and his child, like on the Spurs shop, being all cute. The young boy with his Spurs gear, holding it, and I saw that, but I don't know if it was like edited and and done all nice. I did not see that. I did not see that yet, but I know what I'm Googling after the show. And hey, yeah, big up to you, dude. Happy 4th. It's 4th of July weekend here in the U.S. Big deal. Over there in England, probably not so much. But again, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Please, I mean, God, I hate asking for this. This is my least favorite part. But if you haven't hit the bell notification, just do that. That way, whenever I do these streams at weird times, and they mostly are weird times right now, you'll be notified, and you can come and you can hang out, or even get brave and jump on the show. So again, thank you to everyone who's watched, and calling out.